once I had moved to Texas, I had found my yoga practice, and I was invited to a 200-hour yoga teacher training at Dharma Yoga in East Austin, and it was heavily emphasizing Buddhism, or at least that's the part that got through to me. The Buddhism was what interested me most, and Buddhism and yoga are not the same, but they complement each other, and many Buddhists practice yoga. I think between the Buddhists and the yogis, we have a shared understanding that many things are yoga, that Buddhism is a kind of yoga, and from that perspective, I think I see it as a meditation, that yoga is a discipline that is intentional in our movement and also our mental landscape, our mindscape, and in the way we participate with the world, meaning how we make choices like food or work or friendships or right speech. And in that training, I had received some pushback from my job, and I think it was a form of bullying, as in nothing went wrong, but it was, once I completed that program, I just started to see things differently. I started to see the world differently, and one of those things was my job was around alcohol, and this idea that I was sharing alcohol and spreading alcohol through the world. That just became a value that I was no longer willing to neglect. And I tried because of the financial benefit and investment, but ultimately, in my naivete and also my bravery, I left. I quit without a plan. I had 3 panic attacks in a row, and in a matter of a day or two, and I quit my job, and they let me go. There was no fight at all, and that was super hard because I didn't feel like I had any mentorship or guidance. And what I can probably see now is that was spiritual guidance. That was God, Spirit, Gaia putting Control Alt Delete on my life. Restart. And that was a huge wake up call in regards to my nervous system, of how when I choose to neglect or go against feeling sensations in my body, that we either embrace change or change is forced. And that's what happened to me. Change was forced. I was pushed out of the safety net of that job and the familiarity, and I was expected to do it on my own, and so I did. As it relates to my yoga practice, my practice just got deeper, because as I needed to have faith, I started to cultivate faith. I started to trust the practice. I started to believe that the more that I invested in myself, the more I would benefit, the more the world would benefit, the more I would get through the muck of confusion or misunderstanding or lack mindset or a feeling of abandonment, or just all of those childhood traumas that came back. When my job left, I felt like I was completely neglected and isolated. And so the work becomes the undoing, because at the same time that I was under supported and under nurtured, I was a grown adult, and it was time for me to put my feet on straight and hop to it. And so since that time, I've cultivated and sought out an incredible community of people who are helpful. And it's not just people, it's this practice. It's the fact that my ability to stay humble in that kind of work resonates with others who want that skill for themselves or for others, for their loved ones. Wouldn't we all want to be facilitators of this humble compassion? And that's the steady guide that I try and follow, that The word humble, or the practice of being humble, is I navigate with consent practice. And consent means that I'm not taking more than I'm given. I'm asking for what I want. I'm asking for what other people want. And it creates this environment that's very clean, but it can be challenging, right? Because it's almost like I'm picturing in my mind a living room that has no pillows. It has furniture, maybe let's say all wood furniture, but it's not, there's no fluffiness, there's no waste. And that's how it feels sometimes navigating consent culture, is that there's really no room for interpretation. It's all very clear and it's out there. It's like your teeth are perfectly flossed, you're dialed in, there's a discipline. And it also keeps us humble, because that type of intention is not meant to keep somebody out. It's meant to create more connection, and it really does. This is astringent style sometimes of consent. It really can be far more fulfilling because it's more nutritious, is how I think about it. And what that means to me is that there is a permission to be yourself and ask for what you need, and also allow others to be heard in what they need and believing them. And when this becomes a habit, there's this really cool honesty and authenticity, and our life starts to become really customized to our own creation. So when it's customized, that means that my flaws are my flaws and my wins are my wins. And it really takes out that victim sensation of they did it, but that detail that didn't get spoken. I wish I would have said this. I wish I would have heard that. And of course that still can happen, but it happens far less. And it's a playful way to be it's fun to be playful in that environment, because it's as if as soon as you do something that doesn't fit the consent of a container, you're told. And so you just get to readjust. And the gray area starts to go away. And when the gray area starts to go away, the trust is true. The trust feels truer. So this is how I got here.